Are humans' power held in their hair, and that's why the government is trying to cut us down? Is deforestation a way to remove the trees and vegetation slowly taking over the entire planet? All of these questions you can find the answer to on This Paranormal Life! Welcome to the podcast. I'm going to be your host for this week, Rory Powers, joined by my professional paranormal pal, Kit Greer.
That's right.
And for the first time ever,
we
have a guest on this show. Mr. Gavin Murphy.
What? It's the first time out? I didn't realise it's the first time ever.
Yeah, I wouldn't have agreed to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm very much the guinea pig of this situation.
Now drink this serum.
Well, usually on any normal podcast, we would take a second to explain who Gav is and how we know Gav.
Right.
This isn't a normal podcast, all right? This is a paranormal podcast, okay? So we're not going to do that. Gav is dressed as a ghost. And as always, we're gonna hop right in. We're gonna get straight into the story here.
No messing around.
Gav, how well do you know the paranormal world? I mean, we're professionals, but you
intimately.
I just want to make sure that you're in a place where if your life changes tonight, you'll be okay.
Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty run of the mill that I see ghosts, interact with ghosts. I'm dressed like a ghost, as you say.
I'll be honest with you, I'm begging for change.
Yeah, you're like, well, this one's about werewolves, so you're gonna be lost.
I'm in a bad place, guys. I just thought if we could
anything you can give me now would be great. What we're gonna be investigating today is a little place known as Skinwalker Ranch. All right.
So it's not the kind of ranch you would like to necessarily take your children for a day out or something like that. Skinwalker Ranch, I'm guessing.
How do you view your children? Do you like their skin a lot?
I like it on them.
I feel like if you run a place called Skinwalker Ranch, the way you view your children is through like a glass. Like the only way you're allowed to touch them is when they put their hand on the glass and you touch them. That's fine.
Well, guys, down a long dirt road in Utah is a rugged stretch of ranch land that may just be the strangest place on Earth. Skinwalker Ranch.
I thought it was going to be somewhere else. Okay, that's fine.
Is it really called Skinwalker Ranch, or is that like what the locals
also
call it?
known as Sherman Ranch.
There you go.
Or Gorman Ranch.
So at what point did they change the name?
Maybe when the Skinwalkers showed up, Kit. How about that?
Wait, hang on. Why is he got two other names?
Look, guys, there's a lot of questions going on right now. And I'll be honest, I didn't expect this many on the second line.
Okay.
Let me convince you. Let me win you over, all right?
Okay.
So our story begins in Utah back in 1994. There's a property that borders the Ute Indian Reservation. It's a nice plot of land, 480 acres, and it's on the market. For a steal as well, weirdly enough. So a lovely couple named Terry and Gwen Sherman decide to go check it out. They're looking for somewhere where they can build and develop a cattle ranch. And for all extensive purposes, the ranch is perfect. Middle of nowhere. No one is going to come interrupt you. Yeah. You can do whatever you want on this ranch.
We were talking just before I got here about how much we hate estate agents.
Yeah.
This is interesting because it feels like they're trying to sell them cursed land.
That's very
which
true.
Probably is not.
It's a very estate agent thing to do, I would say.
The only strange thing they notice is apparently there were deadbolts on all the windows and doors of the home.
That's all right.
Even the kitchen cabinets had deadbolt locks on them.
Less so.
And even stranger, they were on the inside and outside of both of the doors.
Of the kitchen cabinets?
I don't know about the cabinets.
Possible?
I don't know about the cabinets, to be fair.
Okay.
Well, anyway, they decide to make a deal and in 1994 agree to buy the property.
They bought it. How bad was the property market back then? Look, Jesus Christ.
Did all deadbolts come with this? Yeah, we'll take it. We gotta take it.
That's a steal. Yeah. What they didn't know was that they had just purchased one of the most paranormal plots of land in history. The land known as Skinwalker Ranch.
Was it called Skinwalker Ranch before they went on it? Okay, right, okay.
It was called maybe Gorman Ranch.
Okay.
Or like Pleasantville, Happy Town.
Buy me ranch.
Yeah. So the day comes where it's time for Terry and Gwen to move into the ranch. They fill a moving truck with all their furniture and drive it over to the ranch.
That feels like padding on your part. What? They put all their DVDs into one box, then they put
bedding,
all their cutlery.
a different car. But as they worked unpacking their furniture from the van, how's this for filling, Gav? They noticed a large wolf appeared in a nearby cow field. Please respect the story. The Shermans, at this point, they've seen wolves before. They're pretty close to the animal.
Yeah.
And they're being quite loud, so you'd think the creature would be scared off.
Of course.
Right. They've seen it, but they're still being loud.
Yeah, because...
That's disrespectful to wolves.
You don't know what a wolf likes. Maybe he's a party wolf.
Yeah.
But instead of being scared off, it just stood there, motionless,
Okay.
staring at them. Then, the wolf bit into a calf's leg.
Oh, it was by the cows.
It was by some cows. I neglected that information earlier. It was by some cows, and it bit into a cow's leg. Terry is obviously having none of this, because those are essentially his babies.
Oh, did the cows belong to him?
Yeah, because he wants to set up like a cattle ranch.
Okay, right.
Okay.
You haven't told us this, so don't...
That was in the story. That was at the start.
So the cows moved before. Never mind.
Jesus Christ. So look, Terry's pissed. He goes inside, runs, grabs his rifle, comes outside, points it at the wolf, and bam! Fires at him, close
This wolf
range.
really isn't going anywhere. Okay.
No. But the wolf is unfazed. Okay? Terry shoots the wolf again. Bam! The wolf doesn't even flinch.
Terminator 2 style, its wounds heal up.
Well, Kit, after the dust
Jesus.
cleared, the wolf stood up and walked away with no trace of blood.
Okay.
This was the first of many strange paranormal events of Skinwalker Ranch.
When you said when he walked away, in my head, it was on like two legs.
That's what I'm thinking.
He's like...
He put on a hat and coat.
Put his jacket over his shoulder. Good day. If you're going to shoot me, then I will no longer be on this ranch.
He's like, well, shit, I didn't think you had the balls, son. Welcome to Skinwalker Ranch.
This is a little hazing we do to the newbies.
Sorry about your cow.
There were allegedly several more wolf sightings. In one instance, Sherman's wife spotted a large wolf as she drove through the gate to the ranch. She noted that the wolf was 3 times larger than a standard wolf, its head reaching above the roof to her car.
What?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
I don't think I've ever seen a wolf, so I don't know how... I'm guessing they're not that big.
I think
usually.
they're like cat size.
So that's like...
no, sorry, not cat size.
It's like, I haven't seen one, but that's not true.
Like my cat Whiskers, that is a wolf. That is a full-grown wolf.
It's like proper, like frothing in their mouth. Like, yeah, this is weird thing in her mouth. It was like, that's rabies.
Is that a calf's leg? Yeah, he does that.
Yeah, he loves calves.
Little did they know, the giant wolves would be the least of their problems on Skinwalker Ranch. The longer they stayed, the more horrific the experiences became. In the middle of the night, the entire ranch could light up as if it was illuminated by stadium lights. When they worked in the fields, they swore they could hear voices floating above them, talking, conversing. There were crop circles, random holes in the ground, cattle mutilations. I mean, these poor sons of bitches had to put up with everything. You know, some people just have one. It's like, oh, my cows are being messed with. Everything on this ranch.
I am, like... I'm going along with it, and I believe... Well, I don't believe them.
Whoa, hold on, sorry.
But because they're just going... Everything was happening. They were just like, ghost wolf, there was ghost talking, what's that thing? Crop circles? Yeah.
Would you say there was a Sasquatch there?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Why not? For sure.
But you got to remember, guys, the rumors of this place being haunted, cursed, the rumors of the Skinwalkers, this precedes the Shermans.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, yeah.
They have come in very much with, I don't know if they did know, the history of this ranch.
Yes.
But people long before them have said that it is haunted.
It was very much in the small print.
So, as if all of these dead cows and giant wolves weren't enough, the Shermans also experienced over a dozen UFO sightings. Not just one, not two, but 12 separate reported incidents.
So it is a dozen. It's not over a dozen.
Huh?
Move on.
And they've only been on the ranch for 2 years. Okay?
This has gone over 2 years.
2 years they're getting with on this ranch.
That's a lot.
In some instances, the UFOs would open up and release small spheres into the air. Now, this one's actually is quite funny. Apparently, there were 2 types of these spheres, blue and orange. So they said the orange orbs were frequent and referred to by the Sherman's neighbor, who was also getting with,
Yeah.
Of course.
as the flying orange basketball.
Right.
From what I can tell, it was relatively harmless. It would just kind of survey around the fields,
Bounced
then
a
go
lot.
away. Then there were the blue orbs. And they were the dangerous ones. Apparently in May 1996, Terry was outside with his dogs when he saw one of the blue orbs coming down from the sky. Now, I guess by this point, he knows not to mess with the blue orbs.
Yeah.
Because they're the bad ones.
Well, he's not an idiot.
But the dogs don't know anything. They just see like a floating chew toy in the sky. So they run away trying to chase it down, but it flies away into these thick bushes. He calls for the dogs to come back, but they don't. Now, Terry Sherman is a pretty brave man, but he's shitting himself. So he goes inside, he goes to sleep.
What, without the dogs?
The dogs.
He just writes off the dogs.
They're not good. He knows the blue ones are not to be messed with.
Yeah. Okay.
He's like, idiot dogs, glad I got shot of them. Anyway, now to buy some really clever cats.
So he goes inside, goes to bed. The next morning he comes out and he's like,
oh, did you walk the dog? Yeah, I did for a bit. like, where are they now?
blue orb.
She's like, blue orb? Oh, you should have just said that.
Lead with that.
Yeah.
When he went to go look for the dogs, he could only find 3 burnt patches on the floor where he believes his dogs were incinerated.
Shut up.
Yeah, true story. I mean, maybe not, but
You shouldn't say that.
you shouldn't end every sentence with true story.
Yeah.
It really discredits
Then you're like,
your
oh
word.
shit, yeah. Well done. Wait, so
Questions, yes?
if my girlfriend's dog
Yeah,
wasn't with her,
right.
I'm like, hey, where's your dog? Because she owns a dog.
Does she own a ranch?
No. If she
Skinwalker Flat?
If her husband came back into the house and then he's like, she's where's the 2 dogs that you left here with that I put in your care? And then Terry's just like, blue orb. His wife's just like, oh well, sleep time. Like, that's
Just saw a wolf the size of a car on
was
the
2
way
years
into the
ago.
house.
I think it's
She's
the
fine with it.
It's the least of their worries, I guess. At this,
I know
point.
it's the least of their worries, but at the same time, it just feels like losing 1 dog would be pretty sad. Losing 2
All
dogs
3.
on the same night.
Yeah. It's
Well, look,
true.
I mean, they've been here for 2 years.
Okay.
Like, the dogs are pretty bad because, yes, you have, like, affection for the dogs.
Yeah.
Terry, he's lost cattle. He's lost actual money. He's had
Yeah.
like people taken from like the blood sucked from the veins of the animals and left dry little husks. The dogs die. That's a bummer. But you weren't making those into hamburgers or whatever they do at cattle ranches.
I
don't
do
know.
see the point. I just feel like there should be more of a fuss made.
She cried a little. Are you happy?
Yeah,
I'll add that
I
in.
am
She
actually,
was
yeah,
upset.
that's
a bit.
awesome.
Then a blue orb entered the room.
And sucked out the tears, for it was the power of the orb.
The tears were incinerated.
So as I said, this has been
Yeah.
going on for 2 years. After the second year of living in Skinwalker Ranch, the family started to find it difficult to even sleep at night. And when they did, they were plagued by violent nightmares.
Jesus.
Their 2 kids saw their grades plummet at school. Mrs. Sherman lost her job because of her repeated absences. And as I said, Terry Sherman lost a significant percentage of his cattle.
Jesus.
It's not worth it, guys.
And I mean, they took the ranch in like wild Utah that had all the doors bolted shut. So I'm guessing they don't have the financial ability to maybe
Just
move
up and move
somewhere nicer.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. If you're settling for Skinwalker Ranch,
Yeah.
I feel like, you don't have the moolah to just move to a new
I
property.
don't understand also why the bolts were on the outside.
What?
You said there was bolts on the inside and the outside of the doors.
Yes.
Like, is that because the wolf was just like, oh, I'm going to lock you in? Like, we want to be locked in.
You don't, maybe, at some point, whatever was in the house had to be contained.
Yeah?
There's so
They
much
got
stuff.
a blue orb in there.
There, exactly. Yeah, quickly put deadbolts on every single door.
Terry's just looking through the window like, oh, that's a telly gone. You can just, like, this blue orb is like, let the out. This is bullshit.
I also love he's like, I know that you bought a lot of deadlocks, but you do realize if you deadlock the outside of the door's still locked. You don't need to deadlock the inside of the door. I'm going to be honest with you. There was a sale on locks.
Yeah. I was just scared. Yeah. I can't lose any more dogs.
After the second year, they just can't take it anymore. Okay. All right? The family decide to pack up and get out.
Smart.
But obviously by this point, The stories about all this insane stuff that's been happening at the ranch has spread across America. So how are you going to sell this house?
Terry's got a big mouth and he likes to drink. He's just constantly talking about blue orbs down the thing. Like, anyway, anyone want to buy that cursed ranch? He's like, no, Terry, you mental. Like, I've got 9 dogs. I can't bring them up there.
So as you can see, you know, it's a very isolated location, very peaceful. How are you with wolves? Do you like wolves?
Yeah.
They get pretty big up here.
They're like, what are those screams I can hear? And it's like, oh, that with the ghosts. They fly around your heads. Yeah, what's up?
But it's fine, though. Deadlocks, inside and out. Do you know how ghosts work?
Are there pets allowed? Well, they are allowed. Whether they will survive the winter is another thing.
That's a gamble. I will admit that is a gamble.
It's like, do you like lots of pets? Because I would encourage your dogs to breed a lot because they will be going missing.
Yeah, I would very much advise on a dispensable amount of animals on the farm. Well, there is one man who wants to buy this house. And his name is Bob Bigelow.
That's nice.
He's real. Bob purchased the house for the National Institute for Discovery Science, also known as the NIDS, which is essentially a company that he created to investigate the paranormal.
Interesting.
This guy is an entrepreneur. He's a bazillionaire. He has money to throw around and invest in these.
That's the thing.
Okay.
When you say he's head of a company, I'm like, oh, this is real. And then you go, it's a company that he made. And like,
in his mom's basement.
all right.
Yeah, it's like, does he own a company or does he just have money for some undisclosed reason?
I think he's a pretty, reputable businessman. He's got
there are smart people who believe in the paranormal.
Bob and his team move into the house with all their gear, monitoring equipment, etc., installing video cameras around the farm. Mm-hmm. He's pimped this place out. He's got enough money.
He's got a lot of money.
He's got enough money to pay a team to monitor this farm 24/7. They're stationed there, essentially.
Awesome.
Watchtowers, surveillance equipment, all of it.
What's the address of this guy's Patreon? I think we need to start copying this guy's model.
I never get to meet people like this. Like the amount of different people I've met, I've never met someone be like, what do you do? And he's like,
you ever heard of Skinwalker, right?
in a bar.
I'm sorry I asked, honestly.
His face is illuminated by a pipe in the corner.
You ever heard of Skinwalker Ranch, boys? Like, no, but that sounds like something I definitely want to hear about and maybe work on. So you tell me about that.
I mean, you say that, but me and Gav work at a sort of video game entertainment company.
It's not a sort of video game. Like, I've got to feel like the people who make that website think that it's a real, like, it's a sort of, I guess, video game entertainment website. That's what it is.
Look, I use a lot of the studio space for investigating the paranormal, is what I'll say. But we were recently offered the opportunity to go on a trip with a self-proclaimed beast hunter.
The zoologist.
A cryptologist.
There's quite a difference between a zoologist and a beast hunter, I would say.
I don't think this guy knows that. Let me tell you. I've read this email thoroughly. This guy does not know there's a difference between beast hunter and cryptozoologist. I'll show you the email later because I do think we should go on this trip.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Because zoologists are mostly about protecting nature and living things and conserving rare species. Beast hunter indicates something slightly different.
But you're protecting the ultimate species, human, from beasts. So, in a sense, we're the zoo.
Also, like, I like the idea that these people think that all those creatures hang out in the same place in Devon. Like, and I was like,
is it in Devon?
Like, I'm pretty sure the Loch Ness monster has never been seen in Devon. Like, because that's one of the emails. Like, if you can prove that the Loch Ness monster is alive or Bigfoot, it's like, what do they think these monsters are? Like, they think it's like Disneyland, and they're all hanging out in one big park together.
It's very much a gentleman's club.
To be fair, look at the Skinwalker Ranch, for example. We've got one location where all of these, paranormal incidents are being reported, drawn to this one location, this cursed land.
Well, the thing I don't get is, like, that's cool. I mean, that's pretty badass, in fact, that the Native Americans would refer to as cursed. I don't know why does, like, a curse draw UFOs or orbs.
Feels like Terry's a drinker.
Look, we talked about this before with we did a podcast earlier on, which was the Hollow Earth. God, I hate myself for saying that sentence aloud. But essentially, it was Native American tribes talking about the ant people and the snake people.
Yes.
You know, it's essentially UFOs and aliens appearing, but then obviously from a human standpoint, you have a way of appropriating that into your culture.
Okay, so you're saying the language of the Native Americans was limited to their culture. And
exactly.
it referred to something more high-tech. Like, there's those supposedly, like, Sumerian scripts that depict helicopters in, like, 3000 BC.
Everyone's on an iPhone, like, carved into the walls. It's like, is that all right?
Yeah, when they're like, someone points out, it's like, look at this portrait of this guy. That's John Travolta. That proves that John Travolta's a vampire. Like, not really. It just kind of looks a little bit like John Travolta.
The Nicolas Cage one, though?
Oh, yeah.
He's
absolute vampire.
It's pretty good.
So, Bob and his team have moved into the ranch, all right? And it's not long before things start kicking off. Doesn't miss a beat. He moves in, everything starts going insane. The first night they were there, they reported seeing 2 bright yellow orbs hovering 15 to 20 feet
orbs
off the
They're
ground.
the good. They're the fine ones.
They're neutral.
I see.
If you give them a dog, they will incinerate it. But it's fine regardless.
The party orbs. Like, no, we're cool. We're not like those blue.
2 disco balls entered the house at 3 a.m.
Yeah, you're like shitting yourself. You go up really slowly with a rock, just poke it, it slowly opens up, smoke emitting. You just hear wolves come out of the forest. That's it. Like, I mean, it's not threatening, but it's still very weird.
Definitely paranormal.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I'll tell you that.
As they moved closer to the lights, they saw human-like animals scramble high into a tree.
Oof.
The animal growing larger and larger as they neared the trees. I guess that's just perspective.
Yeah.
A nearby rancher who accompanied the scientists fired shots at the animal, claiming they won't get any more of our cattle tonight. But
I think you say they won't get any bigger now.
he takes a step closer. My God. Slowly turns the gun on himself. Yeah. It's the only way.
He's like, yeah, Bob's like, oh God, not again.
That's our 5th neighbor. The animal was wounded, but again, they searched the ground for any traces of blood. No blood, but they did discover tracks in the snow. The tracks were large, clearly defined, and indicated the animal had large human feet with very long claws.
Oh.
Like
Human
some sort of
feet with long claws.
So I guess 5 toes. Not 5 toes.
So
5 toes,
feet
yes.
Jesus.
Just a regular old 7 toes.
So what are their feet? 4 fingers, 1 thumb.
4
one
on
chubby
side,
thumb.
3 on the other.
It's okay. I can feel my 4 hearts going crazy.
But I'm just so can a human foot have claws, or is like a human foot with long nails?
Yeah,
I think the
that's what it
implication is that
yeah.
it's a creature with a human-like foot, but it's not a human.
Okay.
Could be a skinwalker. I'm not sure. Not wanting public exposure that would bring onlookers and disrupt their scientific research, the NIDS remained fairly quiet about this incident for many years. But there were some incidents they weren't so quiet about. Additional activity reported at the ranch includes strange aircraft, balls of light floating above the ground, poltergeist activity in and around the property,
in and around the cabinets,
cattle mutilations, strange alterations to the surface of the land, in brackets, hundreds of pounds of soil moved from place to place in the course of a single night, and strange humanoid-like creatures roaming the ranch. There's a lot of stuff going down.
This is a very confusing case, yes.
There's so much stuff going on at this ranch, man.
It's so hard to
gotta
pinpoint.
focus on the ranch rather than focus on something happening at it.
Okay.
It's called the most paranormal place in the world because
Okay.
it's just everything happening here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether that's down to secret military bases or ancient curses.
Yeah.
You know, something's drawing all this weird shit to this little plot of land.
It reminds
Very
me of like
interesting.
have you ever been to a mystery spot in America?
No.
Have you ever been to one where they have like these? I think it's called the mystery spot, which I thought was like a joke because there's one in the Simpsons baseball episode.
Okay.
Where I think it's like Wade Boggs, maybe.
Oh, where they have the deepest pit in the world or something, never-ending pit.
But there are real mystery spots in America. They're like these weird little sideshow, like attractions. And I went to one, and it's like
some guy be like, "This is the world's darkest room. That'll be $200." I mean, it's pretty dark, but
he beats you over the head with a 2x4.
It's not far off because like it's called the Mystery Spot, and I went to one like in the middle of like San Francisco and LA, like on that drive. It's like Santa Cruz, but like there's so much stuff going on in the same place. And it's unrelated. So like one bit is just like, oh, check out this cabin, like the gravity in this cabin is crazy. And then you go in and it's like this weird optical illusion. It's like, oh, also this bench down here, if you all stand on it, the person who's the tallest looks the shortest and stuff like that. It's like
so they're all optical illusions.
That's the thing. It's all this different shit, and but it's like, isn't it strange? I was all happening in this one place. I was like, well, you called it a mystery spot, so no, not really.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a very like strong vetting procedure for submitting weird things. It's like, Charles says that the bench down there is kind of weird. Cool, adding it to the list. All right, going up in Wikipedia as we speak.
It's like when you're driving down the road and you'll see like, oh, like you guys want to come check out the world's biggest ball of yarn?
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, is this the biggest? It's like, have you seen a bigger ball than this?
No.
It's like, well, no. It's like, well, there you go.
That's what it's like. It's like, did we mention that Bigfoot comes here? We're like, no. It's like, yeah, he does, and that's his favourite tree. Right there. So, and it's just like, everyone's like, ooh, taking a picture of like the tree.
That's so
weird.
I think I told you, Rory, but whenever I was in Joshua Tree, I was actually talking about it earlier today, but big like UFO paranormal community in Joshua Tree, very small population, and a gentleman called the Space Cowboy was telling me about the location of a time machine. It was like a 15-minute drive. The time machine, unfortunately, was closed that day.
Oh, no.
So me and my girlfriend could not visit.
Gutted.
Hell.
And we looked it up online. It is very famous. It's very beautiful from what I can see. Gorgeous construction, was built quite a few years ago now.
When they say closed, they mean it was in the 1920s at the time. It was like, unfortunately, it was 2017, so we couldn't go see it.
It's in an appointment, yeah.
They'll be back any second, maybe.
But it was very, it was kind of, as we're talking about, it was quite convenient that the man who built it supposedly never finished it. So I don't believe it's ever traveled time. It's mostly used for like yoga retreats currently.
Gotcha.
So you can very much time travel in a like emotional sense, but maybe not physical, which I thought was quite convenient.
I love if you go in and it is a yoga retreat, but everyone's in like Victorian age garments.
Well, shit.
Good people. That's really good.
Or they're like, oh, if you're looking for Yelp reviews, thing is, it can only send people back, doesn't bring them forward, so they don't have a computer. So, and if you see any bad ones, it's because it didn't work that time, and people are pissed. But so we only get bad reviews, unfortunately.
Yeah, Yelp is us in that way. To be honest, we're waiting. We keep sending like things in people's pockets, going, when you get back to Victorian London, make Yelp. Make Yelp now, motherfucker.
But they're lynched for witchcraft day one, so very few returns on that, unfortunately.
We are having a problem.
Gives a guy a smartphone, sends it back in time, and it's like, when you get there, make Yelp. Like, okay, got it. Goes back in time. The guy takes out a history book. List of wizards killed. Like, all of them were screaming Yelp as they died. He's like, shit.
List of wizards killed within an hour of meeting them. They're like, shit. He's like murdered 50 wizards.
He's also like, where did I get this book? List of wizards killed.
I'm just imagining the book is like, so you can spot a wizard by their Nike trainers and clean clothes.
The tick of the wizard.
It's like after they kill 3 Yelp wizards, then they're just like, if someone comes here talking about Yelp, that means wizards. So that means you gotta kill them. It's like he's just sending all these people back all the time. One of them managed to escape. It's just like, I've got to go forward in time, kill him, so you can't send any more wizards back.
Oh God.
The time machine's stuck on the shittiest time period ever.
Why can't you only send people back
just go
to the
somewhere else
peak time of wizard murders? It's like, send them back to any other time.
The most suspicious and ignorant time. Couldn't send me back to like a peace-loving time of like hunter-gatherer tribes. No.
Thing is, that would be good, but at the same time, just like he's like, any minute now, we're gonna start getting those Yelp reviews, and just like one man. And instead, it's like if I was doing it, it'd be like one man wrote all these different films. It's like, is it every single piece of pop culture was written by Gav Murphy? It's like, but it's all like written really bad. He's like, yeah, Jurassic Park, that was me. Jaws, also me. Actually, that was the same guy.
Gav Murphy.
Yeah.
I also love the idea of someone showing up and he's just like, like I think I've pinpointed the moment in time where there was really a ridge created with me and my ex-wife, and I feel like I just got that second chance. And the guy's like, yeah, clicking all the buttons. Like, I feel like I could just, have that moment. I'd make things so different. And how do you feel about wizards? So I don't see why that's relevant. Anyway, make Yelp. Boom. Siobhan, back in time. It's the last thing you want to hear before you're blasted 100 years and make Yelp.
You're spiraling through a wormhole. I can't code.
All right, back to the ranch.
I don't know how you get this back to the ranch.
Much like the paranormal world of time travel, things continued to be weird at the NIDS ranch. They've taken over now. They're monitoring everything. With all these weird things going on, cattle mutilations, strange altercations to the land, humanoid creatures roaming the ranch, it becomes insane. But unfortunately, by 2002, the paranormal activity of Skinwalker Ranch had begun to die down.
Oh,
and I'll be honest with you, Bob's out of cash. Okay. There were very little return. I mean, they're capturing a lot of stuff here, but there's not a lot of returns financially. In terms of this investment.
I don't know what the business model is there.
Yeah, I know. It is a little difficult. So in 2002, Bob decided to move the team out of the property. Right. And still to this day, no one can explain the strange occurrences of Skinwalker Ranch. Now, it is worth mentioning, since 2017, paranormal activity has begun to increase again.
Really?
At the ranch. There's been reported UFO sightings.
Okay.
More strange incidents. I think currently it is unoccupied. Still to this day. You can go on Google Maps. You can actually go in person. I believe now there is I don't know who's done this, coincidentally, but there is like a parameter that you cannot cross within a certain vicinity of the ranch.
Lest an orb strike you down.
Right. But I believe it is unoccupied to this day.
What?
Maybe
No
he still
way.
owns it, but
Yeah.
there's no one stationed there.
I think that's fair.
I think that feels like a waste of space. Literally a waste of space.
I gotta say so, but I mean, are you gonna move there?
I don't know if that's where you want to lay your head at night.
Yeah.
Or take your dogs.
Not dogs. No, we're not taking the dogs there.
So obviously, it's a crazy story. Sometimes it's hard for me to convince Kit of one of these paranormal instances on a podcast. I've given you dozens.
Everything.
Literally every possible
overload.
one.
Yeah.
And I know that can be a little overwhelming, especially Gav.
It felt like, the Goosebumps movie, where it's like every bad thing from the Goosebumps universe is just happening in this tiny town. That's what that feels like.
It does a bit, actually, yeah.
Now, what I would like to know is, did this gentleman who occupied it as a researcher, Bob, did he get any, evidence?
So
you put the papers down. I'm guessing no.
You're completely done. Your beer in hand, evidence done.
That's actually a really interesting story. Okay, I was at
one that you clearly don't need the paper to prompt you for. So
look, I was at the office last night, doing my research, printing off all these goddamn pages of research. Okay?
Is that what you're doing when you're there that late?
Yes.
When you're like, oh man, I was in the office till 11 last night.
It was a late
Your boss is like, Roy's a really hard worker. You know what? Let's promote him.
Loves a printer, and we have a website, so I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, we're a digital media company, so look, not sure about that.
Hold your blasphemous tongues for 1 second, all right? What I do is I get my notes together, I type out what I want to type out, and then I go, these guys are smart guys. They're good looking guys.
Yeah, I feel like you're
they got
us
giant
to try and
dicks, smart in
You're
the
just
old
trying
brain.
to distract us from the question. So, is there evidence?
Have you bought the ranch?
These guys are gonna need some evidence.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So I start Googling orbs. I start looking at wolves. And I swear to God, this is a true story. before I can print one page of evidence.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
The fire alarm goes off in the building.
Shut up.
Last night, 11 at night, no one else is in that building. When I was outside, I was the only floor that was lit up on the entire building. Fire alarm goes off.
Did you pull the alarm?
Yes, granted, but that shouldn't take away from the point.
I can't believe it worked.
It did. Fire alarm showed up, and I just printed this in like a haste, because obviously if the fire truck shows up and I'm the only one that walks out of the building, that's not going to look good.
With all that evidence.
They just arrest you. They're like, it's probably him. Yeah. Wait, what time was this? Like 11 o'clock?
Yeah, which was really scary because it's obviously not a drill.
No.
And I don't know what could have caused this if there's no one else in the office.
Holy shit.
You were vaping consistently out of stress.
He does love a vape.
Yes, and directly into the fire extinguisher.
I thought it was
Because them, right?
I thought it was an air vent.
Because I don't respect firemen.
Yeah.
So I had to just...
Holy shit.
Like, even my notes are unfinished. I had another paragraph I couldn't complete because I just had to leave. I went to the shop to buy beers for tonight.
And firelighters.
And a disguise.
To come back to finish the job.
True story. Fire alarm went off. I couldn't print any evidence. I mean, you guys go home tonight.
This is a low point, I would say, of the journalism in this Paranormal Life podcast. I would like to apologize to all our loyal listeners.
It right now. I'm going to Google it.
I'm going to Google
Skinwalker Ranch UFO.
The Wi-Fi's off as well. That's how they
I'm trying to burn it.
Fire alarm.
All right, hold on.
Wait, you think if you type in Skinwalker Ranch evidence...
UFO. I think if I type in UFO,
right,
I'll find pictures from Bob and his team. Skinwalker Ranch UFO. Here we go. You ready to have your minds blown? The first 3 clips
You haven't watched it yet. You don't know if our minds are going to be blown.
The first 3 clips are from a film called Skinwalker Ranch.
What?
I'm guessing that's not one for families.
God, there is so much... Oh, I'm just overwhelmed by the evidence here.
So it just shows anything, I would say.
It's hard to pick, though.
Just one thing.
Just one. Just anything
I mean, this
at
video
all.
is called Damn, Skinwalker Ranch Worker Leaks.
What?
But it's an hour long.
That is...
We are strapped for time. So I'll have to write that one off.
That music does not sound scientific.
Evidence is a little hard to come by, it turns out.
Okay, so as long as we're clear.
But if you go to Patreon, you can see This Paranormal Life research notes for the episode, of which I will post extensive evidence.
They're cursed by the fire one.
So the jury is very much out until the Patreon notes go live.
I'm starting to think you f***ers pulled the alarm. That's what I'm starting to think.
Don't do this right on us.
You're getting really paranoid really fast.
Well, look, this is what in all of our episodes,
Yeah.
I pitch a case
Yeah.
to fellow investigators.
Yeah.
And at the end, we're going to come to a conclusion as to whether or not we believe there is a speck of truth within the mystery.
Speck's a good term.
Kit.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you first. What are you thinking here? What's your explanation for all this crazy
I
stuff?
think we've struck upon the most crucial detail of this. There is a lot happening. There is, I would say, too much happening.
Yeah,
at
Terry would agree.
Skinwalker Ranch. I would have liked.
left it.
I would like to know. I mean, is it wide open as to the causation of this? I know the Native Americans said it was cursed. That was their particular language. I know in other cases, similar to this, people talk about like ley lines and things like that, like part geographical locations where, I don't know, the energy goes crazy and stuff happens. I don't know if something like that is possible. It's very hard to say yes to. This is like one of those massive lawsuits where someone is getting sued for like 35 reasons and the judge has to narrow it down and go, okay,
just pick the
let's
highlights.
just pick the most likely one and try and solve that. So I don't know if I can get on. If we haven't if those guys worked there and we don't have any evidence of UFOs, I don't know if I can believe any of that.
It is a bit weird that the dude sets up essentially a monitoring team. Apparently, day one there's UFOs.
Yes,
Yeah.
And I can't find one picture of any of this.
It really
because also this is his company is like an independently funded company.
Yes.
So presumably there's not going to be any reason that they would want to withhold evidence from the public. If that's their sole purpose.
Yeah. Like if they could, they would milk this for all it was worth. And
Absolutely.
what it sounds like is they ran out of money. And
before anything showed up.
Yeah.
It's a bit suspicious.
Where do you come down, Sir Gav?
I love the idea that that Bob and his team, like, he moved like 4 best mates in, and like anytime you hear of like one of these weird things, I always love the friends more than the actual dude doing it. Like, I remember, like, we're obsessed with this particular like sex robot documentary.
Okay,
and
that really needs elaborating.
Anyway,
good night, everyone.
There's a sex robot documentary on Netflix called My Sex Robot, and one of the most I've watched that documentary so many times, and one of the most fascinating people is there's this guy making a sex robot. He has an employee who's helping him make the sex robot.
Yeah, okay.
The employee, for me, is more fascinating than the guy, because it's just like, what? You're not even the guy.
Yeah, you're not even the crazy
sex robot guy. Like, like
You're probably not even banging the robot.
Yeah.
Like, what are you getting out of this?
Yeah, like, you're coming in every day. It's like, why is her lips all and the guy's like, sorry, when you left last night,
you know,
I her.
I don't know what you thought was going to happen when you left.
Yeah.
So
you should have made her lips so damn pretty.
You told me we were making a T1000.
Yeah.
Stop f***ing the robots.
And that's what I think about Bob and like his team is like, I understand Bob because Bob's obviously got a disposable amount of money.
Well, he made his fortune by creating Yelp in the 1900s.
So that's, but I love the people who have just followed Bob, and just because the people who follow Bob are going to be people like us. And be like, oh, what are you doing right now? Yeah, I've just got this 6-month contract. I'm going to go to this ranch. What's it called?
Yeah.
Skinwalker Ranch. Stop me there.
Do they not have any family or friends who were like, maybe don't move to a haunted ranch in Utah?
I think as much as I find that fascinating, I feel like there's so much going on. But then why is so much, like, you feel like these people must be idiots if there's so much going on. That's the thing. Maybe it's so that I'm in my head now, I'm thinking that it must be true because there is so much going on, because if it was false, you wouldn't say everything.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, oh, like little bit, oh, it's UFOs and it's crop circles. You just stick to one thing. Mm-hmm. Very rarely do you get people who are just like, everything that's weird, it's all happening on this ranch.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't do that if you wanted people...
So unbelievable, yeah.
If you wanted people to do it. So I'm kind of torn. I think maybe there is something going on there.
Well, like one good angle that we always take when we do this show is investigating not only the situation, but the people.
Yeah.
So you look at the people and you think, okay, what could they possibly have to gain by making this up? And, we'll have very convincing stories about alien abductions. Yeah. And then you read that now they've written several books and tour the world telling people their story. This family, they have gone as far as to insist that their names are changed in the retelling of this story because they want to distance themselves as far as possible. And after everything that's happened to them,
but then like
they didn't make a book or a movie. Well, there is a movie, but it's not involving them.
But then they could have. When you said the family and they moved on, the guy was going to like take over the cattle and stuff. Yeah. In my head, what's happened is the cattle farming isn't as easy as Terry thought it was going to be.
Pitch, yeah.
So he's been like, okay, well, we need to move off this place, but he doesn't want to admit defeat. He doesn't want to admit he's a really bad cow farmer. So he's just like, well, the dogs are gone. So I can't in good conscience stay here, I'll be honest. Maybe you want to stay here, just get the dogs come back as ghosts and kill us all. That's why I put the bolts on the outside. So
it's definitely suspicious as well. There's a through line through a lot of paranormal cases where cases seem to pop off in like waves. So this started in the 90s, I believe.
It started with this family in the 90s, but as I said,
but it went
Indians know it is
2000s.
cursed. Apparently in the 1950s, entire groups of nearby school children and their teachers witnessed UFOs passing over the ranch.
Well, that's true. But I mean, this is a good example because the 50s is that was the first wave of like UFO thought. Yeah. The 90s was kind of cattle mutilations and stuff, and then it kind of suspiciously dropped off in the information age until the year of the flat Earth, 2017.
Right.
It's kind of weird the way it's gone in waves like that, but that doesn't necessarily discount it. It's just interesting.
If you were an alien kid, why would you come to Earth and stay here? You come for a bit. You come for a couple years.
You'd holiday.
You around. This is their spring break. They come to Earth, like drain cattle, disintegrate dogs, and then they got to go back up to like, I don't know, the Space League where they all like have to are just bureaucrats. It's really boring
because it's like on Nibiru. There's probably like a 7-year winter where they're like, Nibiru sucks for that amount of time, so they go hang out in like some nice warm state in America.
Are you saying like we're like the purge for aliens?
Yeah.
It's like, right, basically. You're not allowed to mutilate any cattle on Nibiru, but every like 7 years, every family gets to come down and mutilate whatever they want.
So you, as the chief paranormal investigator on this case, with your career on the line, your reputation on the line, what do you think of this one?
It's interesting. All right, usually with a case you look at cause and effect, but we literally have every effect. So what
no
could
cause.
be no cause? In terms of the popular explanations, we do have the curse from some of the tribes local. Other people say that there's military bases hidden around the area. That would explain the fluctuation of UFOs.
Information just been presented to us. By the way.
But like the wolves, what is that?
Yeah, that's weird.
There's so much strange stuff that I don't have an answer. And I think this is it, that no one has an answer. But if you don't have an answer, you can't say it's real.
It's true.
You can say it's
on good conscience.
You can't say it's not real.
I guess so. This is tough because you do have to come down on an answer. We always come down on an answer.
Okay.
Do I think there might be something suspicious happening at this ranch? Something we don't know about nearby, around? Yes. Do I believe that there's robot wolves and aliens to which the likes we're seeing at the minute? With the evidence that I could deduct, which was none because of the fire extinguisher, I have to say no. It's my reputation on the line. I have to say no. I'm sorry.
Well, there was another episode where I think we came down on the conclusion of if you or I were to spend a night in Skinwalker Ranch, would we have a sound night's sleep? I don't think so.
I cannot wait until the day this podcast takes off enough that it can fund
goes on the road.
Preposterous trips.
Yes.
I mean, goddamn 5-star, unnecessarily luxury trips to these locations.
We heard there was a haunting in that sweet Dubai tower where there's loads of nice hotels and shit.
I've only done one of these podcasts right now. If I'm looking at my podcast app one day and I'd be like Skinwalker Ranch live, and I'm not on Skinwalker Ranch when I see it, I'm going to be pissed.
More than fair.
Let me tell you.
That's okay.
This is interesting. Obviously, just as a fan of this podcast and not a person who's involved in it, is there a case that you guys have investigated that you feel like you could solve? If the two of you went there, is there a case you feel like you could solve?
Yeah. I'd say so, yeah.
Like, in a good way, not just go and be like, all happened.
Maybe not solve, but...
Okay, what's the one then that you would like to go and experience the most?
I don't know what yours is.
Don't say like face on the moon or something like that.
God.
Yeah.
I would like to know if he is in fact real.
You're pointing a revolver to your forehead.
Yes, that's a really dark Patreon stretch goal. 20 grand, I'll shoot myself in the face.
And if I survive, you'll get your money back.
The one I would most like to investigate is we covered a case involving ancient aliens.
Okay.
And the idea that aliens actually visited Earth and talked with people and gave them technology and all these things. But essentially, there are these ancient caves in Ecuador that apparently is referred to as the Metal Library.
Right.
And there's an entrance that you swim underwater and you can go into this cave that has all these ancient tablets given by aliens.
Shut up.
That sounds mental, but bear in mind, Neil Armstrong himself, with a man, journeyed to Ecuador to search for this cave.
Right.
The actual Scottish explorer,
a Scottish explorer. Him and Neil Armstrong one of the only men to ever leave the gravitational pull of the Earth, felt like he had to go look for ancient alien slabs.
Oh, he didn't find them?
He didn't find them, unfortunately.
Shit, okay.
He did not. And actually, that explorer that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but his daughter has actually taken up the mantle of like this guy's life work and everything.
Yeah,
so
she's hunting for them now.
maybe we should throw her an email sometime, see like what's happening, what's popping. Should we be checking this out?
The explorer's got too old. He's like, I can't do it anymore. So he's like, I'm going to pass the mantle on to his daughter. His daughter's like, right, I'm going to take it. But Neil Armstrong's like, nah, I'm still going to be doing it mostly myself. And she's like, yeah, you have slowed down quite a lot on the old Ecuador tablet, so you, to be fair, it doesn't feel like they're top of your priority list anymore. Like, whereas me, it's my life's work. So, she's like, okay, I'm going to go to Ecuador on Saturday. Saturday's not good. Because I am an old man.
so actually Ecuador's never good with me at this point.
It's like the floor is very rocky. Don't get me wrong, love the Zimmer frame, but I just don't think it's going to work out.
It's like, you've got to be really good at diving to the point where...
And I worry if you dive, you're not coming back up.
I've been to the moon. It's like, you went to the moon ages ago. Like, you haven't, I've only seen you in this house.
I think you're right, though. I think like that is, if there's like a Venn diagram of like the most potential to be true versus the most life-changing for humanity versus the least explored, maybe it maybe is ancient aliens. I don't know.
I mean, that one literally came down to they knew the essential like vague location of where the cave was,
right?
And there's hundreds of caves around there, but they just haven't been able to find the precise location.
You basically have to pick off the caves one by one.
Yeah. Well, they found... See,
in my head, I'm trying to think of, like, what would be a good podcast for you guys to go and do. But if it's just, like...
we're in another cave.
Day 700's, 700th cave. They're not here.
No aliens.
Next cave.
Yeah, the...
all the bonus Patreon episodes are just cave episodes now.
The Zoom got really wet in the dive. We're now on iPhone. I am damp. I am cold.
Rory thought he saw aliens on day 75, but unfortunately it turned out to be all the poisonous bugs we've been eating to stay alive out here.
It was his own ghastly reflection in the water. He's so malnourished.
A massive head, a tiny body.
Gollumed right up. It's like... You just come out like, we're giving up on the caves, but unfortunately we're addicted to the mercury in all the pools, so now we gotta live in the caves.
Woof.
Well, Gav, as you said, this is your first podcast, so I mean, what reputation do you have to put on the line? And I mean that in the most insulting way possible.
As a paranormal investigator,
so
not much.
Granted, this is the decision you'll be judged on in the paranormal world for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Skinwalker Ranch, yes or no? What are we feeling?
It's a no from me.
Wow, that was very blunt.
Yeah.
You're crying.
Yeah, there's a lot of research into that.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally told us you gave up researching to go buy beer.
So that's a shame, unfortunately.
I think we're chalking it up to 3 no's.
Yeah.
Who knew?
You know, like, recently we've had an influx of no's on this podcast, which is a shame because I do want to hit a yes sometime soon.
Yeah.
That's on us. You know, we got to investigate deeper down to the hardcore ones.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast, this week's episode of This Paranormal Life. Thank you so much, Gav, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
That was great.
If you'd like to keep in touch with us, we are on Twitter at This Paralife, Facebook at This Paranormal Life, and we also have on Facebook our secret society that you can join.
That's right.
Exactly. The Paranormal Secret Society. Tell your friends, get everyone involved, invite them all along, but also shut up. Don't tell anyone about it. Gav, where can the lovely people find you on the internet?
I'm at Cymro Gav on Twitter, which is at Welsh Gav. That's where it translates at. It's not very... I wish I didn't have that. Like, I sit next to you at work and I feel like I can... It's probably in the hundreds now how many times you've asked me how to spell that.
Yes.
And
I am borderline illiterate though, which doesn't help.
I was about to say, and you're a clever guy, so it's at CYMROGAV. There you go.
And Gav, how was that spelled?
Gav, please tell the people how to spell it.
Enough of this Welsh mumbo jumbo, Gav. No, can people find that on Welsh Twitter or regular Twitter?
And you actually have 2 podcasts of your own as well.
I do. I have a podcast called Regular Features, and I have a podcast called Gossip Girl Podcast, where I'm watching every episode of Gossip Girl with 2 very, very patient friends.
Paranormal or regular or?
Well, they paranormal friends.
Yes. We need more guests, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're pretty paranormal, man.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for the show. For the next brand new paranormal tale, make sure you check us out next Tuesday on This Paranormal Life. Bye-bye.
Bye.